Hi, by request, here is a slow-mo version of the video that I just did showing how I make this block. The first step is you have these rectangles here and you have these squares. I'm gonna lay the square on here and then sew a diagonal line. I'll be right back. There's my diagonal line. The next step is you take your ruler and you trim off 1/4 inch on the other side of that seam. And now I'm going to take that to my pressing table and press this. You can press the seam however you want. I press these seams open. Once that's done, you get this. And then you do the same thing on the other side. Take your square, sew the diagonal line. Okay. After sewing that diagonal line, you do the same thing as before where you trim off the 1/4 inch and then you flip it, press the seam, and then you have your flying goose block. So it looks like this. And so the next step is you want to get your 4 flying goose blocks because you have one here, one here, one here, and one here all the way around. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of those guys. The other pieces you're going to want are your center red square, and then you want your 4 corner pieces. Okay, so that's everything that you need to make this block. So the next step is I'm going to sew these 2 flying goose blocks onto the side of the red square. I took my phone over to my sewing machine because I just want to show you something. So because I pressed the seam open, I know that I will get exactly at the point if I sew right along this line. See where that point is? So when I put these 2 pieces together, I'm doing this one-handed because I'm holding my phone. But like that's where you want to hit to make sure you get that perfect point. I'm gonna sew that, be right back. Okay, check it out. So I just sewed that, flip it over, and look, you have the perfect point. So I'll do the other side and then I'll press it. Okay, back at my table, so I just sewed that, pressed it, and I pressed these seams towards the center block. And you can do this however you want, but the reason why I did this is because the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sew these 3 guys together. And I pressed towards the darker red here, and then if I do the opposite way, if I press towards those outside dark blue blocks, then number 1, I won't have seams behind the white block, so I won't have shadowing. And then also I'll be able to nest my seams. So I'll sew those together and then I'll show you what that means. All right, so I just did that. And these seams are towards the inside and these seams are pressed towards the outside. And then what that lets me do is when I go to sew these together, I can nestle these 2 guys right up against each other. They kind of like lock together a little bit, and then that makes it really easy to sew. So to kind of finish up this block, I sew those 2 edges together, and then I'll flip it over. You can press the seam however you want. If you look at this one, you can see that I pressed them open just to kind of like try and reduce the bulk of all those seams a little bit. And that's it. So hope that helps.